For 10 years, my best friend convinced me to avoid every relationship. Last night, I discovered why. What if the person you thought was your soulmate, your ride-or-die best friend, was actually the architect of your deepest heartbreaks? For 10 agonizing years, my best friend systematically destroyed every relationship I ever had. And last night, the sickening, soul-crushing truth finally detonated. Carly and I, we were inseparable. We met in middle school, when she transferred in 7th grade, a new kid with no one. I invited her to sit with me at lunch, and from that moment, our lives intertwined. She was my rock through my parents' brutal divorce, my constant companion through my anxiety diagnosis, my shoulder to cry on through every bad grade and every rejection. I trusted her with my entire existence, more than anyone else on this planet. She was family. But looking back now, it's like a movie reel playing in fast forward, and suddenly, every single frame is in stark, horrifying clarity. Throughout high school and college, I dated a few guys, and not one of them ever worked out.
And Carly?
She always had something negative to say. My first boyfriend in sophomore year? Too clingy, she'd say. He'll hold you back. I broke up with him a month later. My college boyfriend? Too focused on his career, she'd warn. He'll never prioritize you. 6 months later, he was gone. Every guy I ever brought around, she'd find a flaw, pick at it, and then convince me I deserved better. I truly believed she was just looking out for me, my protective best friend. After college, I poured myself into my career and stayed single for a few years. Then, 8 months ago, I met someone. His name was Devin, and he was different. He was kind, attentive, and when he talked to me, it felt like I was the only person in the entire room. Things moved fast. He met my family after just 2 months, and they adored him. I waited longer to introduce him to Carly, that familiar knot of dread tightening in my stomach. I just knew she'd find something wrong. When they finally met, she was polite, almost eerily quiet. Afterward, she told me he seemed nice, but something felt off about him. She couldn't explain it, she said, but my gut tells me he's not the one. For the first time ever, I ignored her. 3 months ago, Devin proposed.
And I said yes.
My heart soared. Carly didn't congratulate me. She just stared at me, her face pale, and asked, "Are you sure?" I told her I'd never been more sure of anything in my life. She went quiet after that. We barely spoke for weeks. Last night was my bachelorette party. Carly had organized the whole thing, which surprised me, given her recent distance. We had dinner, then went back to my apartment with a few other friends. Everyone was drinking, laughing, having a blast. Around midnight, most of the girls left, and it was just Carly and me on the couch. She was drunk, and then she started to cry. A deep, racking sob that made my stomach clench. I asked her what was wrong, my heart pounding with fear that something awful had happened to her. She looked at me, her eyes brimming, and said she needed to tell me something she'd been holding in for 10 years. I held her hand, my voice soft. "You can tell me anything, Carly." She took a shaky breath, looked me dead in the eyes, and confessed she had been in love with me since high school. The words hit me like a physical blow, shattering everything I thought I knew. I didn't understand. My brain just stopped. She kept talking, the words tumbling out like a confession on a deathbed. Every guy I'd ever dated, she'd sabotaged. On purpose. Because she couldn't stand watching me be with someone else. She truly believed that if she kept me single long enough, I would eventually realize I had feelings for her too. Devin, she choked out, was the first one she couldn't talk me out of, and it was killing her. I sat there, frozen, a chill spreading through my veins. 10 years. 10 years of failed relationships flashed through my mind like a horror movie. Guys I genuinely liked, guys who were good to me, guys I let go because my best friend convinced me they weren't good enough. "Have you ever thought about me that way?" she whispered, her voice raw. "No," I said, the word feeling like a betrayal even as I spoke it. "Carly, I love you, but only as a friend." She started sobbing harder. "I know," she gasped, "but I can't watch you marry him. If you go through with the wedding, I can't be in your life anymore. My head snapped up. Are you giving me an ultimatum? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Between you and my fiancé? She nodded, her tears streaming. Yes. Then leave, I said, my voice rising, surprisingly firm. She begged me to think about it, but I walked to the door, my hand shaking as I opened it wide. She left without another word. 2 a.m. on the night before my wedding plans were supposed to be finalized. I was utterly, irrevocably alone on my couch, my world in pieces. This morning, I woke up to 37 missed calls from Carly and a text from Devin. He said Carly showed up at his apartment last night and told him everything. He said, "We need to talk." I haven't called him back yet. I'm sitting in my car outside his building now, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs. Carly's silver Honda is parked 3 spots away, a gut-wrenching reminder of the nightmare. She's up there right now, talking to Devin, probably crying and apologizing, trying to spin her version of events. My hands are shaking as I pull open the building door and head for the stairs. I can't stand still in an elevator right now. I climb to the 3rd floor, each step feeling heavier than the last, and walk down the hallway to apartment 312. The same door I've walked through dozens of times, but now it feels like I'm approaching something dangerous. I can hear muffled voices inside. I knock 3 times. Silence. Footsteps approach, and I hold my breath. The door opens, and there she is. Carly, red-eyed, mascara-streaked, a ghostly shadow of my best friend. She opens her mouth to say my name, but I push past her, eyes fixed straight ahead, refusing to look at her. Devin is on the couch, in sweatpants and a t-shirt, looking like he hasn't slept a wink. He stands up when he sees me, and the expression on his face makes my stomach drop. It's not anger, not exactly. It's confusion, like he's trying to figure out who I am. Carly is still by the door, her presence a suffocating weight. Devin clears his throat, his gaze flicking to Carly. "You need to leave now," he says, his voice firm, not angry, just tired. Completely and utterly done. Carly looks at me, desperation etched on her face. "Please, can we just talk? Just the 2 of us for a few minutes." I shake my head, my voice flat. "I have nothing to say to you right now." She starts sobbing harder, grabbing her purse. She walks past me, and the familiar scent of her perfume, the one she's worn since high school, hits me. The door closes behind her with a soft click, and Devin and I are left in a horrible, echoing silence. The refrigerator hums in the kitchen. Someone walks around in the apartment above us. Devin sinks back onto the couch. I stay standing, my body rigid, not knowing what else to do. He looks up, his eyes meeting mine. "Is what Carly told me true?" he asks, his voice barely a whisper. "That she sabotaged all your relationships because she was in love with you?" I nod, the word true coming out quieter than I intended. I watch him process this, his face a kaleidoscope of emotions I can't quite decipher. He rubs his eyes, then buries his face in his hands. I sit down on the other end of the couch, leaving a space between us that feels like a canyon. I start explaining everything, the bachelorette party, the confession, the ultimatum. He listens without interrupting, his jaw tight, his gaze fixed on his hands. When I finish, he's quiet for a long moment. "Did you ever have feelings for Carly that way?" he asks. "No," I say honestly. "I loved her like a sister. I trusted her completely, but never romantically." Devin nods slowly, leaning back. He admits he always thought Carly seemed overly invested in our relationship, but he just assumed she was being protective. He tells me about the subtle comments she'd make. "You two are moving so fast," or "Are you sure he's right for you?" I feel sick. He noticed things I was completely blind to. Then he tells me something that makes my blood run cold. 2 months ago, Carly had actually texted him, saying she was worried I was losing myself in our relationship. He thought it was sweet, proof of her caring. Now he realizes she was trying to plant seeds of doubt. We sit there for what feels like hours, going through every interaction with Carly, each one suddenly making horrifying sense in this new, Twisted context. Devin says he loves me, that he wants to marry me. But he needs time to process this. To process that our entire relationship happened because Carly finally couldn't manipulate me away from someone. It hurts to hear him question if what we have is real. I tell him it is real, that my feelings for him have nothing to do with Carly. But even as I say it, a terrifying question echoes in my mind. How much of my life has been shaped by her opinions? Devin suggests we postpone wedding planning for a few weeks. I agree, even though part of me desperately wants to push through, to prove Carly didn't win. We decide I should stay at my sister Rowan's place to give us both space. He walks me to the door, and I hold onto him tighter than I probably should. When I get back in my car, Carly's Honda is gone. I stare at the empty spot, then start the engine, driving to Rowan's, replaying conversations with Carly in my mind, seeing them differently now. Rowan opens the door before I can even knock, and the moment I see her, I break down. She pulls me inside, sits me on her couch, and I spill everything. Carly's confession, the ultimatum, Devin needing space. Rowan is furious, pacing her living room, saying things about Carly I've never heard her say about anyone. She makes me tea, and when she sits beside me, she asks me to think back on specific relationships Carly talked me out of. As I list them, the patterns emerge, stark and undeniable. Every guy had some flaw Carly would focus on until it seemed insurmountable. Too clingy, not ambitious enough, too immature. Rowan points out how normal those things are. Why did you let her convince you they were deal breakers? I have no good answer, except that I trusted Carly's judgment more than my own. Rowan suggests I actually look back at some of those relationships. I pull out my phone, scrolling through old photos. Junior year of college. Justin. His arm around me, a happy smile. I remember how much I liked him, how easy things felt. Rowan asks about him. He was pre-med, really driven, I explain. Carly said he was too career-focused, that he'd never make time for a relationship, that medical school would consume him, and I'd always come second. I broke up with him after 3 months, believing her completely. Did you ever check in with him after? Rowan asks. The question hits me hard. I never did. I just accepted Carly's version. I typed Justin's name into social media. Within seconds, his profile appears. His most recent photo. Him, a woman, and a toddler in a park. Family time is the best time, the caption reads. I click through. He got married 2 years ago. He looks happy. His wife is a teacher. Dozens of photos of them doing normal couple things, traveling, celebrating. I show Rowan. Looks like he balanced his career and personal life just fine, she observes, her voice quiet. The guy Carly said would never prioritize anyone over his ambitions is now posting about date nights and family dinners. A wave of nausea washes over me. I could have been part of that life if I hadn't listened to Carly. I wake up the next morning on Rowan's couch, my neck stiff, my eyes swollen. My phone is buzzing nonstop. 17 missed calls from Carly. A long text that fills my entire screen. She's sorry. She never meant to hurt me. She thought we belonged together. She writes that every time she saw me with someone else, it felt like losing me. She knows what she did was wrong, but couldn't help her feelings. Justifications. Explanations. Begging me to understand, to talk. I read it twice, then delete it without responding. I can't deal with her trying to make me see her side right now. Rowan comes out, asks if I'm okay. I tell her about the messages. Want me to block her number? She asks. Maybe, I say, but not yet. Part of me, a small, stubborn part, isn't ready to completely cut her off, even though I'm furious. Rowan makes eggs and toast. We eat in silence, then she brings up our conversation from last night. You relied on Carly too much, she says. It went beyond relationships. She reminds me of choosing my college major. I wanted psychology, but Carly pushed for communications, more job options. I chose communications. I remember those conversations now, the embarrassment burning my cheeks. Carly had strong opinions about everything. What classes, what jobs. I always thought she was helping me. Now I see she was just steering me toward what she wanted. Rowan asks how many other decisions I made based on Carly's input instead of my own. I have no answer. It was almost everything. My phone buzzes. A text from Devin. Can we meet for coffee this afternoon? I text back immediately. Yes.
What time?
2 o'clock at the coffee shop near his apartment. I spend the next few hours trying to make myself presentable. Rowan offers to come with me. I need to do this alone, I say. I arrive 10 minutes early. Devin is already there, at a corner table. He looks terrible, dark circles under his eyes, hair messy. My chest aches seeing him stressed because of my friendship drama. I sit across from him. We just look at each other. I've been thinking about everything, he says. I need to understand the full scope of what Carly did. I nod. What do you want to know? He wants me to walk him through every relationship Carly sabotaged and what reasons she gave for ending them. I take a deep breath. I start with my first boyfriend in high school. Too clingy. My junior year boyfriend. Not enough ambition. The guy's senior year. Too focused on sports. Justin in college. Too career-driven. The guy after graduation. Too immature. As I list them, the flimsy arguments echo in the quiet coffee shop. Devin listens intently, then points out the obvious. The reasons were contradictory. Some were too attentive, others not enough. Some too ambitious, others not. Why didn't you notice? He asks. I don't know, I whisper. I guess I just trusted her judgment more than my own. He rubs his face. It sounds like Carly wasn't evaluating them based on whether they were good for you, he says, his voice flat. She was evaluating them based on whether they threatened her position in your life. I know he's right, but hearing it out loud makes me feel utterly stupid, so completely blind. I'm questioning my own judgment about everything now. I admit, my voice cracking. I don't know if I'm even capable of making good decisions about relationships if I let someone manipulate me for 10 years without noticing. Devin reaches across the table, takes my hand. Carly manipulated you for years, he says, his grip firm. You shouldn't blame yourself for trusting someone you considered family. Manipulation works precisely because it comes from people we trust. Tears stream down my face, right there in the coffee shop. He hands me napkins, waits. I'm not questioning our relationship or your feelings for me, he says softly. I just needed to understand what happened so we could figure out how to move forward. Do you still want to marry me after all this mess? I ask, my heart in my throat. He squeezes my hand. Of course I do. Carly's actions don't change how he feels about me, he says, but we need to make sure our relationship is built on a solid foundation. He suggests therapy. For me, to process this betrayal. I agree, knowing I can't handle this alone. He offers to help me find someone, pulls out his phone. We spend 20 minutes looking at therapist profiles. We find someone who specializes in relationship issues and betrayal. We agree I'll start seeing her as soon as possible. We'll keep talking every day, he promises, while you're at Rowan's. We'll work through this together. I want that, too. He walks me to my car, hugs me for a long time. I feel slightly better, knowing he's still committed. Back at Rowan's, I sit with my laptop, seriously researching therapists. Elodie Lombard. Good reviews. Specializes in friendship betrayal, trust violations, rebuilding sense of self. Exactly what I need. I book an appointment for 3 days from now. A small, concrete step. Rowan comes home, and I tell her everything. She's proud of me for taking action. We order pizza, watch movies. I keep checking my phone, but there's no new message from Carly. The silence is weird after 10 years of constant communication. The next morning, Rowan's intercom buzzes repeatedly. She answers, annoyed. It's Carly. Her voice, tinny through the speaker, asking to come up. My body tenses. I shake my head at Rowan. She doesn't want to see you, Rowan says firmly. You need to leave. Carly's voice gets higher, crying. I just want to explain. Rowan's voice hardens. If you don't leave right now, I'm calling the police. Silence. Then Carly, please one more time? Rowan repeats the threat, then hangs up. We listen. No more buzzing. Rowan looks out the window. She's walking back to her car. I sit on the couch, shaky. Rowan sits beside me. Carly showing up like this is not okay. She suggests a restraining order. It seems extreme, but maybe necessary. I text Evan. He offers to come over. I'm okay. I text back. Just need some time. He says to call him if I change my mind. I spend the rest of the day anxious. Every noise making me jump. I scroll through years of photos on my phone, my thumbs moving automatically, my brain processing everything with new eyes. Me and Carly at prom, my date mark standing awkwardly to the side, Carly's arm wrapped around my waist. My college graduation, Carly pressed against me, my boyfriend half cut out of the frame. The pattern is impossible to ignore. In almost every picture with a boyfriend, Carly is positioned between us, or right next to me, her hand on my arm. I zoom in on her face in a photo from my 22nd birthday. I'm with the guy I was dating then, Carly right behind us. Her smile is tight, forced. Her eyes aren't happy at all. I always thought she looked protective, a concerned friend. Now I see possessiveness. She didn't want to protect me from these guys. She wanted to protect her position as the most important person in my life. I feel sick looking at all this evidence right there in front of me for years. I check her social media. Hundreds of pictures of just the two of us. The few with my boyfriends have captions like, "Girls' night is the best night," or "Nothing beats time with your best friend." Sweet, I thought. Now they feel like territorial markings. A photo from 3 years ago with a guy I briefly dated. Carly commented, "He's lucky to have you, but he better treat you right."
Supportive, I thought then.
Now, I wonder if she was already planning how to convince me he wasn't good enough. I close the apps, staring at my blank phone screen, my hands shaking. I text Evan, "Can we talk tonight?" He responds immediately, "Yes." Then I scroll back through years of messages with Carly. I searched Justin's name. Dozens of messages where Carly complained about him. He's working late again. When does he ever make time for you? I saw him at the library with that girl from a study group. Seemed pretty friendly. You deserve someone who puts you first. I remember believing every word. I search other ex-boyfriends' names. Same pattern. Carly constantly pointing out flaws, planting seeds of doubt. I want to throw my phone across the room, but I keep reading, needing to see the full scope of what she did. An hour later, I'm exhausted, angry, sad. I open a new message, type Justin's name. We're still connected on social media. I write a short message, apologizing for how I ended things. Explaining I'm realizing I didn't handle our breakup well. I'm sorry if I hurt you. I stare at it for a full minute, then hit send. I don't expect a response, but I need to say it. Less than an hour later, my phone buzzes. Justin wrote back. He appreciates the message. He's glad I'm doing well. He's happy now, so I shouldn't worry about the past. A wave of relief. I thank him for being understanding. He responds, asking what made me think about our relationship after all this time. I hesitate, then decide to be honest. I tell him about Carly, about the manipulation. That's intense, he writes back. Want to talk about it? I wasn't expecting this. I say yes. He sends his number, suggests a phone call. I call him. He answers on the second ring. We talk for almost an hour. Justin tells me he was utterly confused when I broke up with him. From his perspective, things were great. Then I ended it, saying he was too focused on his career. He admits he didn't understand where that came from. He thought he was balancing school and our relationship well. My stomach drops as he talks. Then he says something that makes me freeze. Carly pulled him aside at a party, he says, about a month before we broke up. She told him I was feeling smothered, that I needed more space. She said I was too nervous to tell him directly, but I was feeling overwhelmed by how serious things were getting. Justin immediately started giving me more space. He thought he was doing what I wanted. I sit there on Rowan's couch, my hand clamped over my mouth. Carly didn't just talk to me about Justin.
She talked to Justin about me.
She actively interfered in our relationship from both sides. That conversation never happened, I tell him, my voice shaking. I never told Carly I felt smothered. He goes quiet. Did she say or do anything else? I ask. A long pause. Then, he tells me Carly would text him occasionally. Innocent at first, just checking in. But looking back, her messages always suggested problems that didn't exist. She seemed sad today. Is everything okay with you guys? Or, she mentioned you've been really busy with your internship. Must be hard to make time for her. He thought she was looking out for me. Now he sees she was actively trying to create doubt, to put distance between us. I apologize again. He stops me. We were young, he says. I don't blame you for trusting your best friend. I'm married now. I have a good life. I'm genuinely okay. I hope you can work through whatever happened. We say goodbye. I sit there holding my phone, feeling like the ground has shifted beneath me. Carly's manipulation was so much deeper, more insidious than I ever realized. She wasn't just talking me out of relationships. She was sabotaging them from the inside. 3 days later, I'm in a therapist's office for the first time in my life. Small, comfortable room, soft lighting, a couch that's far more supportive than Rowan's. Elodie sits across from me, notepad in hand, but she's just listening as I try to explain 10 years of friendship and betrayal in 50 minutes. I start with the bachelorette party, but Elodie stops me. Go back further, she says. How did you meet Carly? What was your friendship like before the romantic relationship started? I tell her about 7th grade lunch, about my parents' separation, my anxiety diagnosis. Carly was the one stable thing when everything felt chaotic. Elodie nods, writes something down. Did you have other close friends then? I realize I didn't. I had Carly. That was enough. Elodie suggests Carly recognized my vulnerability, my desperate need for someone stable. She positioned herself as that person, becoming the one relationship I could count on. This gave Carly power. Not consciously manipulative at first, but a natural result of being my primary support system. Then, as I started dating, those relationships threatened Carly's position. So, she used that power to eliminate the threats. She convinced me these guys weren't good enough, and I believed her because I'd been trained to trust her judgment completely. Hearing it explained like this makes me angry and sad at the same time. Angry at Carly for taking advantage of a scared middle schooler. Sad for that scared kid who was so desperate for stability, she gave someone else complete control. Elodie says both feelings are valid. The session ends. I schedule another appointment. I sit in my car for 10 minutes before I can drive away. Devin and I meet for dinner at a quiet restaurant, neutral territory. He stands to hug me when I arrive. I smell garlic and tomatoes. He cooked. It feels so normal, so easy. After dinner, he sits across from me, reaches for my hand. He tells me he's been thinking a lot about us, about the wedding. My heart starts pounding. He says he's ready to move forward with planning the wedding if I am. He knows we still have things to work through, but he loves me, wants to marry me, and doesn't want Carly's actions to derail our future. Relief washes over me. Then, immediate fear. I don't trust my own judgment anymore. I'm glad you want to continue, I tell him, but I'm worried. I don't know if I can make good decisions about my own life. For 10 years, I let Carly control major choices. He listens carefully. Then, he suggests premarital counseling. To work through the foundation issues, to make sure we're starting our marriage on solid ground. I immediately agree. Professional guidance feels like exactly what we need. We look up counselors, make a list of 3. I feel hopeful for the first time in days. He walks me to my car. We kiss goodnight. I drive back to Rowan's, feeling like maybe, just maybe, we can get through this. Rowan is waiting up, tea ready. I tell her about dinner, Devin's concerns. She listens, then suggests talking to other people who knew Carly and me. Mila, a mutual friend from college. Maybe she saw things I couldn't. I'm nervous, but I need perspective. I text Mila. She responds immediately. Yes. Suggests tomorrow afternoon. My anxiety spikes. What will Mila tell me? The next day, I arrive at the coffee shop early. Mila walks in, her face already full of concern. She hugs me tight, asks how I am. I give her the brief overview. Her eyes widen, but she doesn't seem completely shocked. Did you ever notice anything strange about Carly around my boyfriends? I ask. Mila hesitates, choosing her words. She admits she always thought Carly was possessive of me. Not obvious enough to say something, but little things made her uncomfortable. Tell me everything, I urge. She describes a party sophomore year. Carly spent the whole night making group plans for the next weekend, suggesting activities she knew my boyfriend wouldn't enjoy. When he said he'd skip, Carly acted like it was totally fine. Mila noticed Carly did this constantly, creating situations where my boyfriends would exclude themselves, rather than Carly directly telling them they weren't welcome. Another time, a beach trip. Carly told everyone the house only had room for 6, when it actually slept 8. My boyfriend wasn't invited. I just accepted Carly's explanation. Mila asked Carly about it later, and Carly got defensive, insisting she was just trying to give me quality time with my friends without boyfriend drama. My face burns. How many times? Mila mentions a Halloween party where Carly organized costumes for our whole friend group, but forgot to include my date, making him feel awkward and left out. At the time, Mila says, I thought Carly was just scatterbrained. But looking back, it's too consistent to be accidental. Why didn't you ever say anything to me? I ask, my voice small. She admits she didn't want to cause problems over small things. She figured if it really bothered me, I'd notice. I understand her reasoning, but part of me wishes anyone had pointed this out years ago. Do you think I'm doing the right thing by cutting Carly out completely? I ask. Mila is quiet. What Carly did was manipulative and wrong, she finally says. But I think she truly believed she was in love with you. And she probably convinced herself she was protecting you. Mila suggests Carly saw every guy as a threat to our friendship and to her secret hope. I appreciate Mila trying to help me see Carly's perspective, but I'm not ready for sympathy.
Mila squeezes my hand.
You need to do what's best for your own mental health and your relationship with Devin. If that means keeping Carly out of your life, then that's completely valid. I thank her for her honesty, for not judging me for being so blind. We hug goodbye. That evening, Devin texts, "Dinner?" I drive to his apartment, nervous. He opens the door, and the smell of garlic and tomatoes fills the air. My favorite meal. Candles are lit on the dining table. My chest tightens with emotion. We eat, talk about work, laugh. It feels so normal. Afterward, he clears the plates, then sits across from me, reaches for my hand. He's been thinking about us, about the wedding. My heart pounds. I'm ready to move forward with planning the wedding if you are, he says. He knows we still have things to work through, but he loves me, wants to marry me, and doesn't want Carly's actions to derail our future. Relief washes over me, but then fear creeps back in. I tell him I'm glad, but I'm still worried I can't make good decisions. For 10 years, I let Carly control major choices. I explain. Now I don't know if I can trust myself. He listens. We should do premarital counseling, he suggests. Before the wedding. It would help us work through this, build a strong foundation. I immediately agree. He pulls out his laptop and we start looking up counselors. We make a list of 3. I feel hopeful for the first time in days. He walks me to my car, kisses me goodnight. Maybe I think we actually can get through this. The next morning at work, my phone rings. Unrecognized number. I almost don't answer. Bethany, a nervous voice says. Carly's younger sister. I'm surprised. We've never been close. She wants to meet. There's something I want to tell you about Carly. I'm not sure I want to hear anything, but something in her voice makes me agree. We meet at a quiet restaurant. Bethany looks anxious. I heard about what happened, she says, her voice low. Carly's been staying with their parents. A complete mess. Bethany takes a deep breath. You deserve to know some background. She explains that in elementary school, Carly had an intense friendship with a girl who suddenly moved across the country. Carly was devastated, cried for months. Bethany thinks that made Carly terrified of losing people. Carly has always had trouble with the idea that people she cares about might choose someone else over her. This provides context, but it also makes me sad that Carly never dealt with that childhood trauma. Bethany mentions another incident in high school. Carly became possessive of a girl on the soccer team. The girl had to distance herself. Their parents tried to get Carly to see a therapist, but she refused. This pattern, I realize, existed long before I met her. Was I just the latest fixation? Carly doesn't really have any close friends besides you, Bethany says. And she hasn't had a serious romantic relationship. I always thought she was just picky. Maybe she was so fixated on me she couldn't form other connections. I thank Bethany. She looks relieved. Do you think you'll ever be able to forgive her? She asks. I don't know, I say honestly. What Carly did hurt me deeply, damaged my ability to trust my own judgment. I need time. Bethany nods. I'm not making excuses for her. Just wanted you to have the full picture. She writes her number on a napkin. Call me anytime. I head back to work, a new, complex understanding of Carly, but no clarity on what to do with it. A few days later, in therapy with Elodie, I tell her about Bethany, about Carly's past. How does this new information make you feel? Elodie asks. It helps me understand where her behavior came from, I admit, but it doesn't change the fact that she manipulated me for 10 years. Elodie nods. That's exactly the right perspective. Understanding someone's trauma can provide context, but it doesn't excuse the harm. You're allowed to be angry. A lot of people think understanding means they have to forgive. Those are two separate things. She assures me that prioritizing my own mental health is not only reasonable, but necessary. Does knowing about Carly's attachment issues change anything about how you want to move forward? She asks. No, I say. I still need space.
To heal.
To figure out who I am without her influence. Devin and I have our first premarital counseling session with Aiden Palmer. We sit on a couch in his office, explaining everything. Aiden listens, then asks what we need from each other to move forward. Devin speaks first. I need her to demonstrate she can make her own decisions without constantly looking for external validation. I understand. It's my fear too. When it's my turn, I tell Aiden and Devin I need patience while I learn to trust myself again. 10 years deferring to Carly's opinion. I explain. It's going to take time. Aiden nods. Very reasonable needs. We can absolutely work on them. He suggests weekly sessions. Devin takes my hand. I feel hopeful. Aiden gives us homework. 3 decisions on our own this week, without asking each other's opinion. Small things, big things. The point, trust our own judgment first. I fold the paper, nervous. Devin squeezes my hand. You can do it, he says. I want to believe him, but I still feel like I don't know how to make decisions without validation. That night, I stare at Carly's unread messages. Elodie said I need to set a clear boundary. I open a new message, type carefully. Carly, I need you to stop contacting me while I process everything that happened. Your confession and ultimatum destroyed 10 years of trust. I can't pretend none of it happened. My finger hovers, then presses send. Within 30 seconds, my phone buzzes. She's begging to explain in person. There's so much you don't understand. I read it, then put my phone face down. Rowan comes home the next day, finds me scrolling apartment listings. Time to get my own place, I tell her. I've been with her over a week. We talked about moving back in with Devin, but we both agreed I need my own space. Rowan nods, helps me scroll. We find a small studio, available immediately. I call the landlord, schedule a viewing. Devin understands, offers to help me move. The studio is tiny, but big windows, hardwood floors. I sign the lease that day. My hands shaking. Moving day comes fast. Devin shows up with his truck. Walking back into our apartment feels strange, sad. My clothes are still in the closet, books on the shelf. It looks like I just stepped out. We work quietly, boxing my things. When we're almost done, he sits on the edge of the bed, trying not to cry. I sit next to him. This is temporary, he says, taking my hand. While we work on ourselves and our relationship. It's not a breakup. I nod, terrified it might be. My first night alone in the studio, I can't sleep. Every sound is too loud. The space feels empty. I've never lived completely alone. Roommates, Devin, my parents. Now just me. I get up, make tea at 2 a.m., sitting on the floor. The quiet is overwhelming, but also peaceful. Nobody here to tell me what to do, what to think. Just me. In my next therapy session, I tell Elodie I've realized I've never truly been on my own. How does it feel? She asks. Scary, but also exciting. This time alone, she says, might be exactly what you need to figure out who you are when you're not defining yourself through relationships. My stomach flips. I don't know who that person is. Elodie gives me homework. Spend time each day doing something just for myself, without thinking about what anyone else would want. I agree to try. I start making small decisions on my own. Tuesday night, staring at my fridge. My first instinct, text Devin, call Rowan. Instead, I close my eyes. What do I want? Pasta with butter and garlic.
Done.
Wednesday, I pick a movie without scrolling for 30 minutes. Thursday, I buy a small plant, the one I like, not worrying if it's the right choice. These tiny decisions feel significant. I'm not second-guessing myself, not reaching for my phone to ask Carly. When Devin and I talk on Friday, he says I seem different, more sure of myself. You're not asking for my validation on every little thing anymore, he says. The observation makes me proud and a little sad, all at once. Saturday morning, an email from Carly. Subject: please read this. I almost delete it, but I click.
Long.
2,000 words, detailing everything she claims she did to protect me. How she saw me getting hurt by guys who didn't deserve me. Specific examples, explanations. She knows I'm angry, but needs me to see her perspective, understand she was trying to keep me safe. I read it all, then delete it. Her justifications don't change what she did.
She manipulated me.
She sabotaged relationships because she wanted me for herself, not because she was protecting me. In my next session, Elodie asks if I responded. No. She tells me Carly may never fully accept responsibility. You need to make peace with that. Some people can't admit when they've hurt others because it would mean facing something too painful about themselves. My phone buzzes. Text from Bethany. Carly finally started seeing a therapist for her attachment issues. Thought you should know. I stand in the produce section, reading it 3 times. Part of me is glad, but it doesn't mean I have to forgive her. I text Bethany back. I hope therapy helps Carly build healthier relationships. Bethany asks if I think I'll ever be friends with Carly again. I don't know. She understands. Take care of yourself. Devin texts Thursday. Free Saturday night. Yes. Dress nice. Saturday evening, he picks me up. We drive to the restaurant where he proposed 3 months ago. Same table.
Wine.
It's our 3-month engagement anniversary, he says. We talk about how different our relationship feels now. Everything that happened was painful, I admit, but I think we're actually stronger now. He agrees. The crisis forced us to examine our foundation, rebuild it. He clears the plates, comes back to sit across from me. I've been thinking a lot about us, he says, and about the wedding. My heart starts pounding. I'm ready to move forward with planning if you are. He loves me, wants to marry me, doesn't want Carly's actions to derail our future. Relief washes over me. But then fear again. I'm glad, I tell him, but I'm worried I can't make good decisions about my own life. He suggests premarital counseling to work through the foundation issues. I agree. We pull out his laptop, start looking for counselors.
Hope.
Our next premarital counseling session. Aiden asks if we're ready to set a new wedding date. Devin looks at me. That anxious knot? It's gone. I'm ready, I say. Devin smiles. I've been ready all along. Aiden asks what changed. I feel more confident in my own judgment now. I explain. I'm not looking for someone else to validate my decisions. Devin adds, she's making choices independently, trusting herself in ways she didn't before. Aiden smiles. This is exactly the kind of growth I was hoping to see. He asks us to pick a date. 2 weeks before the wedding, I schedule my final appointment with Elodie. I walk into her office feeling completely different. You look more relaxed, she says. We talk about where I started, where I am now. I couldn't make any decision without second-guessing myself, I tell her. Now, I choose things on my own and trust that I know what's right for me. She asks about Carly. I've stuck to my no-contact decision. It was hard, I admit, but now I feel confident it was the right choice for my well-being. Elodie nods. That's real growth. Putting your own needs first, even when it's uncomfortable. We talk about the wedding. Any doubts about marrying Devin? She asks. None. I say honestly. I'm excited. I love him. We've built something real. She points out how different this is from how I used to talk about relationships. You're making this choice from a place of confidence, of self-awareness. I'm proud of the work you've done, Elodie says. For the first time, I believe her. Thank you, I say, for helping me learn to trust myself. She says I did the hard work. We shake hands. This is probably the last time I'll see her. The thought doesn't scare me. I'm ready to move forward. The week before the wedding is a blur. Devin's parents fly in. His mom hugs me tight, tells me how happy she is he found someone who loves him so much. They never doubted us, even through the Carly mess. They just supported us. His dad asks about flowers, music. After dinner, his mom pulls me aside. You two bring out the best in each other, she says. It means the world. My own parents arrive the next day. Divorced for years, but kind and supportive. Mom helps me pick up my dress. Dad takes Devin out. At the rehearsal dinner, both my parents chat pleasantly with Devin's family. I catch Rowan's eye across the room. She gives me a thumbs up. Devin's best friend gives a funny speech. My mom gets a little teary. The evening ends, surrounded by people who genuinely care. Devin squeezes my hand under the table. We're feeling the same thing. My wedding day. I wake up in my studio apartment at 6 a.m., surprisingly calm.
Coffee.
Watching the sun rise. In a few hours, I'll be married. No nerves, just certainty. Rowan arrives at 8 with breakfast and her makeup kit. Eat something, she orders. While I eat, she says she's proud of how I handled Carly, how much I've grown. I tell her I couldn't have done it without her. She waves off my thanks. We start hair and makeup. My mom arrives at 11, helps me into my dress. All the buttons. The veil. I look in the mirror. I barely recognize myself. My mom starts crying. Rowan rolls her eyes affectionately, hands her a tissue. I think about the bachelorette party, sitting alone, betrayed. That version of me feels like a different person. I'm not the woman who let Carly make decisions for her, who doubted her own judgment constantly. I've learned to trust myself, to set boundaries,
To choose what I want.
My mom asks if I'm ready. I nod, pick up my bouquet. The ceremony is in a garden. White chairs, flowers everywhere. I stand at the back with my dad. Devin's family on the right, mine on the left. Mila waves from the front. The music starts. My bridesmaids walk down the aisle. Rowan goes last, my maid of honor. Then it's my turn. Dad offers his arm.
We walk slowly.
Devin waits at the altar, nervous and happy. When we reach him, Dad kisses my cheek, places my hand in Devin's. The officiant begins, but I'm focused only on Devin's face, on the way he looks at me like I'm the only person in the world. We exchange vows. I mean every word. Loving him, choosing him, building a life together. Devin's voice cracks with emotion during his. I blink back tears. The officiant pronounces us married. Devin kisses me. The crowd claps. We walk back down the aisle, husband and wife. I feel genuinely happy, confident about our future. This choice was completely mine. Made with clear eyes, a strong sense of who I am. Our relationship survived a major crisis and came out stronger. Because we were honest. Because we were willing to do the work. As we step outside, into the sunlight, Devin spins me around, and we laugh. This journey has been incredibly tough, and I'm still figuring things out. What would you have done in my shoes? And have you ever had to relearn to trust your own judgment after a major betrayal? Share your thoughts below.
I really want to hear what you think.